Sarah Bennett worked as a night cleaner at Blackstone Industries for 3 years. She thought she was invisible to everyone, especially CEO Marcus Blackstone. But tonight, while emptying his office trash, she heard him on the phone talking about her. His words made her blood turn to ice. What she did next shocked everyone. Before we begin, write in the comments what city you're watching from. And at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy watching. The elevator doors slide open with a soft ding. Sarah steps into the quiet hallway of the 52nd floor, her cleaning cart wheels squeaking against the marble tiles. She's done this same routine every night for 3 years, but something feels different tonight. The air seems to buzz with electricity, like the moment before a thunderstorm hits. Sarah pulls her dark hair back into a ponytail and checks her watch. Midnight. Perfect timing. The executive floor should be empty by now, just like always. She pushes her cart toward the first office, humming softly to fill the strange silence. But as she rounds the corner, she stops dead in her tracks. Light spills out from the corner office, the biggest one, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Marcus Blackstone's office. Her heart skips a beat. He's never here this late. Never. She moves closer, trying to stay quiet. Through the glass walls, she can see him pacing back and forth like a wild animal trapped in a cage. His expensive suit jacket is thrown over a chair, his white shirt sleeves rolled up, his dark hair messy like he's been running his hands through it. Sarah has cleaned his office hundreds of times, but she's never actually seen him up close. He's taller than she imagined, broader in the shoulders. Even from here, she can see the tension in every line of his body. She should leave, come back later when he's gone. But something keeps her frozen in place, watching him pace behind that glass wall like he's fighting some invisible battle. Sarah takes a deep breath and pushes her cart forward. She'll just clean quietly, stay invisible like always. He probably won't even notice her. She unlocks the supply closet across from his office and pulls out fresh trash bags. Through the glass, she watches Marcus stop pacing and grab his phone from the desk. His face is hard, angry. She's never seen anyone look so dangerous in a business suit. Sarah moves to the office next to his and starts emptying small wastebaskets into her bag. The sound of Marcus's voice drifts through the walls, but she can't make out the words. His tone is sharp, frustrated. 20 minutes later, she finishes the smaller offices and stands outside Marcus's door. Her hands shake as she grips the handle of her cart. This is the part she always dreads, going into his personal space, touching his things, breathing the same air he breathes. The door is unlocked. She pushes it open slowly, the wheels of her cart barely making a sound on the thick carpet. Marcus is still on the phone, standing with his back to her, staring out at the city lights below. "I don't care what it costs," he's saying, his voice low and dangerous. "Find her. Find everything about her family, her history, her secrets. I need to know everything." Sarah's blood turns cold. He's talking about someone like they're a target, not a person. She tries to focus on emptying the small wastebasket near the door, but his words make her stomach twist with unease. She moves quietly toward the larger wastebasket next to his desk, trying not to look at him. But as she gets closer, one word cuts through the silence like a knife through her chest. Sarah Bennett is the key to everything. Her hands freeze on the plastic bag. The world tilts sideways. Her name. He said her name. Why would Marcus Blackstone, CEO of a billion-dollar company, be talking about her on the phone at 2 in the morning? "No, you don't understand," Marcus continues, his voice getting more intense. "She doesn't know what she is, what she represents, but she's the only one who can access what we need. Her father made sure of that before he died." Her father? Sarah's heart pounds so loud she's sure Marcus can hear it. Her father died when she was 16. What could he possibly have to do with Marcus Blackstone? I don't care if it's dangerous, Marcus says. Sarah Bennett is mine. She just doesn't know it yet. The plastic bag slips from Sarah's numb fingers and hits the floor. Papers scatter everywhere, contracts, memos, photographs. The sound echoes through the office like a gunshot. Marcus stops talking. Slowly, very slowly, he turns around. Their eyes meet through the glass wall of his office, and Sarah feels like she's been struck by lightning. His eyes are the most intense green she's ever seen, and right now they're burning with emotions she can't even begin to understand. Surprise, recognition, and something else that makes her knees weak. I have to go, Marcus says into the phone, never taking his eyes off Sarah. She's here. He ends the call and sets the phone on his desk. For a moment, they just stare at each other, the powerful CEO and the invisible cleaning lady who just heard something she was never supposed to hear. Marcus moves toward his office door, each step deliberate and predatory. Sarah's feet feel glued to the floor. She should run. She should grab her cart and get out of here as fast as possible. But she can't move, can't breathe, can't think. He opens the door and steps into the hallway. Up close, he's even more intimidating. He towers over her, his presence filling the space between them like smoke. She can smell his cologne, expensive, masculine, dangerous. "Hello, Sarah," he says, his voice soft but loaded with meaning. I don't know what you're talking about," Sarah stammers, finally finding her voice. I was just cleaning. I didn't hear anything." A small smile spreads across Marcus's face, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Don't lie to me, Sarah. We both know you heard every word." He steps closer, so close she can see the gold flecks in his green eyes. When he speaks again, his voice is barely a whisper, but each word hits her like a physical blow. "Your father stole something from my family 20 years ago, something worth more than you could ever imagine. And you, Sarah Bennett, are going to help me get it back." The hallway spins around Sarah. Her father, a thief? Marcus Blackstone knowing who she is? None of this makes sense. She's just a cleaning lady. She's nobody special. "I think you have me confused with someone else," she whispers. Marcus reaches out and gently touches her cheek. His fingers are warm, and the contact sends electricity shooting through her entire body. "No confusion, Sarah. I've been watching you for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. Tonight, everything changes." Dangerous propositions. Sarah jerks away from Marcus's touch like she's been burned. Her back hits the wall behind her, and suddenly she feels trapped between cold marble and his overwhelming presence. "You're insane," she breathes. "My father wasn't a thief. He was a good man." Marcus's eyes soften for just a moment, but then the hardness returns. "Your father was many things, Sarah. But good?" He shakes his head. "That's complicated." "I need to go." Sarah tries to push past him, but Marcus steps to the side, blocking her path without actually touching her. "You can't run from this. From me. From what you are." "What I am?" Sarah's voice rises, echoing off the empty hallway walls. "I'm a cleaning lady. I empty your trash and mop your floors. That's it." Marcus reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a thick envelope. $1 million, Sarah. Cash. She stares at the envelope like it might explode. "What?" "6 months of your life. That's all I'm asking for. 6 months, and you'll never have to worry about money again." Sarah laughs, but there's no humor in it. The sound is sharp and bitter. "You're seriously offering me money? Like I'm some kind of prostitute?" Fire flashes in Marcus's green eyes. "Don't." His voice is deadly quiet. "Don't cheapen what this is." "Then tell me what this is." Sarah's hands shake as she gestures between them. "Because I don't understand any of it." Marcus looks at her for a long moment, his jaw working like he's fighting some internal battle. Finally, he pulls out a second envelope, this one thicker, older looking. "Your father and my father were business partners," he says quietly. "Before you were born, they discovered something together, something that could change everything." Sarah's breath catches. "That's impossible. My father worked in construction. He built houses." That was his cover. Marcus opens the envelope and pulls out several photographs. He hands them to Sarah with gentle fingers. "Look." Sarah's hands tremble as she takes the photos. The first one shows a younger version of her father standing next to a man who looks exactly like Marcus but older. They're both wearing expensive suits, standing in front of what looks like an ancient stone building. "That's my father, Thomas Blackstone," Marcus says softly, "and yours, David Bennett. This photo was taken in Greece, 3 months before David disappeared with something that belonged to both our families." The second photo shows her father holding a small, ornate box. Even in the faded photograph, Sarah can see strange symbols carved into its surface. "What is it?" she whispers. "Something worth killing for. Something people have died protecting." Marcus steps closer, his voice urgent. "Your father hid it before he died, Sarah, and you're the only person who can find it." Sarah's legs feel weak. She slides down the wall until she's sitting on the cold marble floor, the photographs scattered around her. This can't be real. Marcus kneels in front of her, his expensive suit forgotten. For the first time, he looks almost human, vulnerable. "I know it's a lot. I know it sounds crazy, but I need you to trust me." "Trust you?" Sarah looks up at him, her eyes filling with tears. "You've been watching me for 3 years, lying to me, using me." Yes, the admission hits her like a slap. At first, yes, but Sarah, he reaches out and catches a tear as it slides down her cheek. It stopped being about the box a long time ago. "What do you mean?" Marcus's thumb traces her cheekbone, and Sarah's breath catches. "I mean that somewhere in the last 3 years, I stopped caring about what your father took, and I started caring about you." The air between them crackles with electricity. Sarah can feel her heart pounding against her ribs, can see the pulse jumping in Marcus's throat. "You don't even know me," she whispers. "I know you take the stairs instead of the elevator because you're afraid of small spaces. I know you always eat lunch alone on the bench outside, feeding half your sandwich to the pigeons. I know you volunteer at the animal shelter on Sundays because you think nobody deserves to be alone." Sarah stares at him. "How could you possibly know all that?" "Because I've been falling in love with you for 3 years, Sarah. And tonight, when I heard your name on that phone call, when I realized you were in danger because of me," his voice breaks, "I knew I had to tell you the truth." "Danger?" The word cuts through the fog in Sarah's brain. "What kind of danger?" Marcus's face hardens again. "There are other people looking for what your father hid. People who won't ask nicely. People who will hurt you to get what they want." Sarah scrambles to her feet, suddenly desperate to get away from him, from this conversation, from the way her body responds to his touch. "I can't do this," she says. "I can't be part of whatever this is." She starts to walk away, but Marcus's voice stops her cold. "They already know about you, Sarah." She turns back slowly. "What?" "The people I was talking to on the phone, they're not working for me. They're working against me, against us." Marcus stands, his face grim. "I was trying to find you first, to protect you, but they've been watching you too." Terror slides down Sarah's spine like ice water. "Watching me?" "For months. They know where you live, where you work, where you go on Sundays." Marcus pulls out his phone and shows her a photo. It's her, sitting on her usual bench, completely unaware that someone was taking pictures. Sarah's knees buckle. Marcus catches her before she can fall, his arms strong and warm around her waist. "I won't let them hurt you," he whispers fiercely, "but I need you to trust me. I need you to sign this contract and let me protect you." Sarah looks up into his green eyes, searching for any sign that this is all some elaborate lie. But all she sees is desperation, fear, and something that might be love. "The money," she says. Secrets in the shadows. Sarah's apartment has never felt smaller. She sits at her tiny kitchen table, staring at the signed contract spread in front of her. The black ink of her signature looks foreign, like someone else wrote her name on the page. 3 hours ago, she was just a cleaning lady. Now she's... what exactly? Marcus's companion? His business partner? His target for protection? She can't sleep. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Marcus's intense green gaze and feels the warmth of his hand on her wrist. She can't eat. Her stomach is twisted into knots that make food impossible. And she can't think about anything except the way her name sounded when he said it. The contract promises her a new life, a new identity, a new world. But sitting here in her cramped apartment with its peeling wallpaper and broken air conditioner, Sarah wonders if she's made the biggest mistake of her life. Her phone buzzes. Emma's name flashes on the screen. "Hey girl, you okay? You missed our morning coffee." Sarah looks at the clock. It's already noon. She's been sitting here for hours without even realizing it. "I'm fine," she lies, "just tired." "Tired? Sarah, you sound weird. What's going on?" Sarah closes her eyes. Emma has been her best friend since high school. If she can't tell Emma the truth, who can she tell? "Can you come over?" Sarah asks. "I need to talk to someone." "On my way." 20 minutes later, Emma bursts through Sarah's door with coffee and donuts, her blonde hair pulled back in a messy bun, and her nurse's uniform wrinkled from her night shift at the hospital. "Okay, spill," Emma says, settling onto Sarah's couch with her coffee. "What's got you so twisted up that you missed our Saturday tradition?" Sarah takes a deep breath and tells Emma everything. About Marcus being in his office, about the phone call, about her father and the photographs, and the $1 million contract currently sitting on her kitchen table. When she finishes, Emma stares at her in complete silence for a full minute. "Show me," Emma finally says. Sarah brings her the contract and the photographs. Emma studies everything with the same careful attention she uses to read medical charts. "Holy shit, Sarah." Language. "Holy shit, Sarah." Emma jumps up and starts pacing around the small living room. "Do you realize what this means? You're like a millionaire now. You could quit that awful cleaning job, move out of this place, travel the world." "Emma, stop." Sarah rubs her temples where a headache is building. "This isn't about money. This is about my father being involved with dangerous people. This is about me being in danger." "From who?" "Marcus Blackstone is one of the most powerful men in the city. If he wants to protect you, you're probably safer than the president." Sarah is about to respond when a knock at her apartment door makes both women freeze. "Are you expecting someone?" Emma whispers. Sarah shakes her head. Nobody ever visits her. Nobody even knows where she lives, except Emma and Sarah? Marcus's voice comes through the door, muffled but unmistakable. "It's Marcus. I need to talk to you." Emma's eyes go wide. "Oh my God, that's him, isn't it? That's Marcus Blackstone, at your door, looking for you." "I know," Sarah hisses back. "Sarah, please, I know you're in there." Emma grabs Sarah's arm. "You have to open the door. I need to see this man who thinks he's in love with you." "Emma, no." But Emma is already at the door, turning the locks. Sarah's heart pounds as the door swings open. Marcus Blackstone stands in her dingy hallway, looking like he stepped out of a magazine. Gone is the expensive suit from last night. Instead, he's wearing dark jeans and a soft gray sweater that clings to his broad chest. His dark hair is still messy, like he's been running his hands through it, and those green eyes look tired and worried. He's the most beautiful man Sarah has ever seen, and he looks completely out of place in her rundown apartment building. "Hi," he says softly, his eyes finding Sarah's across the room. Emma makes a small squeaking sound. "Hi," Sarah manages to say back. Marcus steps into the apartment, and suddenly the already small space feels microscopic. His presence fills every corner, making the air thick and electric. "I'm sorry for showing up like this," he says, "but I couldn't stop thinking about you, about whether you were okay." "I'm fine," Sarah lies for the second time today. Marcus's eyes search her face, and she knows he can see right through her. "You haven't slept." It's not a question. Sarah touches her face, self-consciously, aware that she probably looks terrible. "I'm Emma," Emma announces loudly, stepping between them with her hand extended. "Marcus Blackstone, and I have no intention of hurting Sarah." "Good," Emma says, but she's studying him like she's trying to solve a puzzle. "Because Sarah is the best person I know, and she deserves someone who sees that." "I do see that," Marcus says quietly, his eyes finding Sarah's again. The intensity in his gaze makes Sarah's cheeks heat up. She turns away, pretending to busy herself with clearing the contract off her kitchen table. "So," Emma says, settling back onto the couch like she's planning to stay all day, "tell me about this dangerous situation Sarah's supposedly in." Emma warns. "No, it's okay," Marcus says. He moves to the window and peers through the blinds at the street below. Sarah's blood goes cold. "What do you mean?" Marcus turns back to her, his face grim. "There's a black sedan parked across the street. It's been there since last night." Sarah and Emma both rush to the window. Sure enough, there's a dark car with tinted windows sitting under the streetlight across from Sarah's building. "That could be anyone," Emma says, but her voice has lost its earlier confidence. "It could be," Marcus agrees, "but the same car was parked outside the hospital when Emma left her shift this morning." Emma grabs Sarah's arm. "How could you possibly know that?" "Because I have people watching both of you now," Marcus says simply, "for your protection." "You're having us followed?" Sarah's voice rises. "I'm having you protected," Marcus corrects. "There's a difference." Sarah stares at him. "Is there?" For a moment, Marcus looks uncertain, vulnerable. "I know how it sounds. I know it seems like I'm trying to control you. But Sarah, these people, they don't play games. If they think you have access to what they want, they will take you, and they won't ask nicely." Emma sinks onto the couch, her face pale. "What exactly did your father take?" Marcus looks at Sarah, clearly asking for permission. Sarah nods, her mouth too dry to speak. "We're not entirely sure," Marcus admits, "but we think it's a key. Not a physical key, but a genetic one. Something that can only be accessed by Sarah's bloodline." "That's impossible," Emma says. 3 months ago, I would have agreed with you." Marcus sits on Sarah's coffee table, so he's facing both women. "But I've seen too much now to doubt it. Ancient families, bloodline curses, artifacts that shouldn't exist, but do." Sarah's head is spinning. "You're talking about magic. I'm talking about science we don't understand yet. Technology that's so advanced, it looks like magic." Marcus leans forward, his green eyes intense. "Your father and mine discovered something in Greece, something that certain people have been searching for centuries. And when they realized how dangerous it was, your father took it and disappeared."
The first touch. Marcus's penthouse is like something out of a dream. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the entire city, expensive artwork covers the walls, and everything is pristine and modern and impossibly beautiful. Sarah stands in the middle of the living room feeling completely out of place in her jeans and old sneakers. "Are you okay?" Marcus asks softly. Sarah turns to find him watching her with those intense green eyes, his hands shoved deep in his pockets like he's trying to keep himself from reaching for her. "I'm fine," she says automatically, then shakes her head. "No, actually, I'm not fine at all. I'm terrified and confused, and I feel like my entire life just got turned upside down." "I know." Marcus moves closer, but carefully, like she's a wounded animal that might run. "I'm sorry, I never wanted it to happen like this." "Then how did you want it to happen?" Marcus runs a hand through his dark hair. "I don't know. I had this fantasy that maybe one day I'd work up the courage to actually talk to you, ask you to have coffee with me, find out if you felt even a fraction of what I feel when I look at you. Sarah's heart skips. And now? Now I've dragged you into the middle of a war you didn't ask for. His voice is bitter with self-recrimination. Now I've put you in danger just by existing in your world. Sarah looks at him standing there in his perfect penthouse, torturing himself over something that isn't entirely his fault, and something inside her chest cracks open. "Marcus," she says softly. He looks at her, and the pain in his eyes makes her brave. "Show me," she says. "Show you what?" "The files about my father. The evidence that he was your father's business partner. I need to see everything." Marcus nods and leads her to his home office. It's smaller than his corporate office, but just as impressive, with dark wood and leather furniture and walls lined with books that look like they've actually been read. He opens a locked filing cabinet and pulls out a thick folder. "Are you sure you want to see this? Some of it might be hard to look at." "I'm sure." Marcus spreads the contents across his desk. There are photographs, documents, newspaper clippings, and official-looking papers with seals and signatures. Sarah picks up the first photograph. It shows her father as a young man, maybe in his 20s, standing next to Marcus's father in front of what looks like an archaeological dig site. Both men are covered in dirt and grinning at the camera. "They were friends," she says, surprised by how happy they look together. "Best friends," Marcus confirms. They met in college and started the business together right after graduation. Sarah studies her father's face in the photo. He looks so young, so excited, so different from the tired, worried man she remembers from her childhood. The next photograph shows both men in expensive suits at what appears to be a formal dinner. Her father is holding a glass of champagne and laughing at something off camera. "He looks happy," Sarah murmurs. He was, for a while. Marcus sits on the edge of his desk, close enough that Sarah can smell his cologne, until they found the box. Sarah picks up another photo. This one shows her father holding the ornate container Marcus had shown her the night before. But in this clearer image, she can see more details. The strange symbols carved into its surface, the way it seems to glow even in the old photograph. "What's inside it?" she asks. "We don't know," Marcus admits. "It's never been opened. According to the research my father did before he died, it can only be opened by someone with the right genetic markers." "My genetic markers." "Yes." Sarah sets down the photograph and picks up a newspaper clipping. The headline reads, "Construction company partners in heated legal dispute." "What happened?" she asks. Marcus's jaw tightens. "My uncle Richard happened. When my father and yours discovered what the box really was, what it could potentially contain, Richard wanted to sell it to the highest bidder. Your father refused. He said some things were too dangerous to be bought and sold." Sarah reads the article, which talks about a bitter partnership dissolution and accusations of theft on both sides. "So my father took the box." "To protect it," Marcus says quickly, "and to protect you. Richard, he's not a good man, Sarah. When your father disappeared with the box, Richard became obsessed with finding it, finding you." Sarah's hands shake as she holds old photographs of her father with the Blackstone family, memories she never knew existed flooding back. There's one of her father holding a baby with dark hair and green eyes. "Is this you?" she asks. Marcus nods. "I was about 6 months old when that was taken. Your father used to babysit me when our parents had business dinners." Tears blur Sarah's vision as she stares at the photo. Her father holding baby Marcus with such gentleness and love. The same father who died when she was 16, taking all his secrets with him. "He never told me," she whispers. "He was protecting you." A tear slides down Sarah's cheek, and before she can wipe it away, Marcus reaches out and catches it with his thumb, his touch gentle as a whisper. "Hey," he says softly. Sarah looks up at him through her tears. He's so close now that she can see the gold flecks in his green eyes, can feel the warmth radiating from his body. "I'm scared," she admits. "Of me? Of this? Of how I feel when you look at me like that?" Another tear falls, and again Marcus catches it. "Of how much my life has changed in 24 hours. Marcus's thumb traces along her cheekbone, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. "How do you feel when I look at you?" Sarah's breath catches. The moment stretches between them, loaded with unspoken promises and dangerous possibilities that neither can ignore. "Like I'm falling," she whispers. "Good," Marcus breathes, "because I've been falling for 3 years." He's going to kiss her. Sarah can see it in his eyes, can feel it in the way his hand cups her face, can taste it in the air between them. But instead of leaning in, Marcus pulls back. "I can't," he says roughly, "not like this. Not when you're scared and confused and your whole world has been turned upside down." "I know," Sarah stares at him. "What?" "I won't take advantage of you, Sarah. When I kiss you, and I will kiss you, it's going to be because you want it, not because you're grateful or scared or feeling vulnerable." The intensity in his voice, the promise in his words, makes her knees weak. "What if I already want it?" she asks quietly. Marcus's eyes darken. "Do you?" Sarah looks at this man who has turned her life upside down, who claims to have been watching her for 3 years, who just promised to kiss her someday when she's ready. 3 days ago, she didn't even know he knew her name. Now he's offering her protection, truth, and something that might be love. She thinks about the way he caught her tears, the way he looked at her father's photograph with such respect and affection, the way he's trying to protect her.
Playing with fire. 3 weeks later, Sarah barely recognizes her own reflection. The woman staring back at her from the full-length mirror is wearing a midnight blue designer gown that costs more than Sarah used to make in a year. Her hair has been styled by Marcus's personal stylist into soft waves that cascade over one shoulder, and her makeup is flawless. She looks like she belongs in Marcus's world. She looks like someone who could believably be engaged to a billionaire CEO. "You look stunning," Marcus says from the doorway of the bedroom. Sarah turns to find him adjusting his bow tie, and her breath catches. He's wearing a perfectly tailored black tuxedo that makes him look like he stepped out of a magazine. His dark hair is styled back, showing off the sharp angles of his face, and those green eyes are drinking her in like she's the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. "So do you," she manages. They've been living together for 3 weeks now, but Sarah still feels a little flutter in her stomach every time she looks at him. They haven't slept together. Marcus has been the perfect gentleman, giving her space to adjust to her new life. But the tension between them grows stronger every day. Every morning she wakes up to find coffee waiting for her exactly the way she likes it. Every evening they have dinner together and talk about everything except the dangerous situation that brought them together. And every night Marcus kisses her goodnight at her bedroom door and walks away, leaving her wanting more. "Ready for your first public appearance as my fiancé?" Marcus asks, offering her his arm. Sarah's stomach knots with nerves. "As ready as I'll ever be." The charity gala is being held at the city's most exclusive hotel. As their car pulls up to the red carpet entrance, Sarah sees photographers and reporters lining both sides of the walkway. "Just remember," Marcus murmurs in her ear as their driver opens the door, "you belong here. You belong with me." The moment they step out of the car, camera flashes explode around them. Marcus keeps his hand on Sarah's lower back, guiding her forward with quiet confidence. "Mr. Blackstone, over here. Marcus, who's your beautiful companion? Is it true you're engaged?" Marcus stops and turns toward the cameras, his public smile perfectly in place. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet my fiancée, Sarah Bennett." More flashes, more shouted questions. Sarah's heart pounds as she plays her role, smiling and trying to look like she's not terrified. "How did you two meet?" a reporter calls out. "Sarah has been working at my company for several years," Marcus says smoothly. "It took me far too long to work up the courage to ask her out." It's close enough to the truth that Sarah doesn't feel like she's lying when she smiles and nods. Inside the hotel ballroom, the party is already in full swing. Women in designer gowns mingle with men in expensive tuxedos, champagne flows freely, and everything sparkles with wealth and power. "Nervous?" Marcus asks as they make their way through the crowd. "Terrified," Sarah admits. Marcus stops walking and turns to face her, his hands gentle on her arms. "You are the most beautiful woman in this room. You are intelligent and kind and real in a way that most of these people have forgotten how to be. Don't let them make you feel like you don't belong here." His words warm her from the inside out. "Thank you." "Just being honest." Marcus leans down and brushes a soft kiss against her temple. "Dance with me?" The band is playing something slow and romantic. Marcus leads her onto the dance floor and pulls her into his arms, one hand on her waist, the other holding her hand against his chest. They move together like they've been dancing for years instead of weeks. Sarah can feel the warmth of Marcus's body through his tuxedo, can smell his cologne, can feel his breath against her hair. "This is nice," she murmurs. Marcus pulls her closer than is probably appropriate for a public event. "I could do this all night." But as the song ends, Sarah notices a woman watching them from across the room. She's beautiful in a sharp, dangerous way, with platinum blonde hair and ice blue eyes that seem to see everything. "Marcus," Sarah says quietly, "who's that woman staring at us?" Marcus follows her gaze and his entire body tenses. "That's Vivian Cross, my ex-fiancée." Sarah's blood runs cold. "I thought she was dead." "So did I." The woman, Vivian, starts walking toward them with predatory grace. She's wearing a red dress that looks like it was poured onto her body, and every man she passes turns to watch her. "Marcus," Vivian purrs as she approaches, her voice like honey over broken glass. "You look well." "Vivian," Marcus's voice is carefully neutral, "you're supposed to be dead." Vivian laughs, a sound like silver bells and poison. Her ice blue eyes slide to Sarah. "And you must be the new toy." Sarah feels Marcus's hand tighten on her waist. "Sarah is my fiancée," he says firmly. "How fascinating." Vivian circles them like a shark scenting blood. "Tell me, Sarah, what do you know about the Blackstone curse?" "Vivian, enough." Marcus's voice is sharp with warning. But Vivian ignores her, her attention fixed on Sarah. "Has he told you about all the women who've gotten involved with Blackstone men? How they tend to disappear?" Sarah's heart pounds, but she forces herself to meet Vivian's gaze steadily. "I don't believe in curses." "Smart girl, neither do I." Vivian's smile is sharp as a blade. "But I do believe in patterns. And the pattern is that Blackstone men use people up and throw them away when they're no longer useful." "That's enough," Marcus says dangerously. "Is it?" Vivian turns back to him. "Because I think Sarah deserves to know what she's really gotten herself into. Don't you?" Before Marcus can respond, Vivian disappears back into the crowd, leaving behind only the lingering scent of expensive perfume and unspoken threats. "Who was she really?" Sarah asks as Marcus leads her off the dance floor. "Someone I should have been more careful about," Marcus says grimly. "Someone who knows too much about my family's business." They're approached by a steady stream of Marcus's business associates and society friends. Sarah plays her part, smiling and making small talk, but she can't shake the feeling that everyone is watching her, judging her, wondering what a cleaning lady is doing on Marcus Blackstone's arm. During a particularly boring conversation about stock portfolios, Sarah excuses herself to use the ladies' room. As she's touching up her lipstick in the mirror, Vivian appears behind her like a beautiful ghost. "You know he's lying to you, don't you?" Vivian says conversationally. Sarah meets her eyes in the mirror. "About what?" "Everything." Vivian moves to stand beside her, refreshing her own perfect makeup. "Marcus Blackstone is very good at making women fall in love with him. It's practically a family talent." "You sound bitter." "I sound experienced." Vivian caps her lipstick and turns to face her directly. "Let me guess. He told you that you're special? That you're different from all the others? That he's been watching you, falling for you, dreaming about you?" Sarah's stomach drops, but she keeps her expression neutral.
Betrayals kiss.
Emergency lighting flickers on, casting eerie shadows across the ballroom. In the chaos, Sarah can hear security guards shouting orders and guests screaming in confusion. But Marcus's arms around her are steady and strong. "This way," he whispers, guiding her toward a service exit she didn't even know existed. They slip through the panicked crowd, Marcus's hand never leaving her waist. Sarah's heart pounds as she tries to make sense of what just happened. The power outage felt too convenient, too planned. They make it to Marcus's car without incident, but as they drive through the dark city streets, Sarah can't shake the feeling that they're being followed. "Talk to me," Marcus says quietly, his eyes flicking between the road and the rearview mirror. "What exactly did Vivian say to you?" Sarah tells him everything, about the warnings, the names of other women, the threats about being careful what she drinks. With each word, Marcus's jaw gets tighter. "She's trying to turn you against me," he says finally. "Is she succeeding?" Sarah asks. Marcus pulls the car over suddenly and turns to face her. In the dim light from the street lamp, his face is all angles and shadows. "Elizabeth Morrison was my father's secretary," he says quietly. "She discovered some financial irregularities in Uncle Richard's accounts and threatened to go public. 3 days later, she died in a car accident." Sarah's breath catches, and Catherine Wells. "The ambassador's daughter. She was someone I cared about. Before you, before I understood what real love felt like." Marcus's voice is heavy with old pain. "She got too close to the truth about the box, about what my family had done to get it. She started asking questions. Then she disappeared." Disappeared how? Her body was found in the river 2 weeks later. The police called it suicide. Sarah stares at him in horror. "You think your uncle killed them?" "I know he did, and I know that if I don't find that box soon, he'll kill you too." The words hang in the air between them like a death sentence. Sarah feels like she can't breathe. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" she whispers. "Because I was hoping I could protect you without you having to know how bad it really is." Marcus reaches for her hands, but Sarah pulls away. "Protect me? By lying to me? By keeping you close? By making you too valuable for him to simply eliminate?" Sarah stares at him. "What do you mean, too valuable?" Marcus looks away. "If you're publicly known as my fiancé, if our engagement is splashed across every newspaper and magazine, then your sudden disappearance would raise too many questions. It would bring too much attention to the family." The truth hits Sarah like a physical blow. "So our engagement, this whole thing, it's all just protection? A publicity stunt to keep me alive?" "No," Marcus says desperately. "Sarah, no, that's not." "Then what is it?" Sarah's voice rises. "Because right now, it sounds like Vivian was right. It sounds like I'm just another pawn in your game." "You think this is a game to me?" Marcus's voice is raw with emotion. "You think these feelings are fake? I don't know what to think anymore." Marcus stares at her for a long moment, pain and frustration warring in his green eyes. Then, suddenly, he cups her face in his hands and kisses her with a desperation that takes her breath away. This kiss is different from their first. It tastes like goodbye and promises he can't keep. It's fierce and desperate and full of everything he can't say with words. When they break apart, both of them are breathing hard. "Does that feel fake to you?" he whispers against her lips. Sarah's heart is pounding, but she forces herself to pull away. Feelings can be real even when the situation isn't. Marcus flinches like she slapped him. "What do you want me to say, Sarah? That I didn't plan this? That there wasn't a part of me that knew bringing you into my world would help keep you safe? I can't say that because it would be a lie."
So you admit it. I admit that when I realized you were in danger because of who your father was, because of what you might be able to access, I knew I had to do something to protect you. And yes, making you publicly mine was part of that strategy. Marcus's voice breaks slightly. But Sarah, somewhere along the way, it stopped being a strategy and became the most real thing in my life. Sarah wants to believe him. God, she wants to believe him so badly it physically hurts. But Vivian's words keep echoing in her head. How do I know which parts are real and which parts are just necessary? She asks quietly. Marcus is quiet for so long that Sarah thinks he's not going to answer. When he finally speaks, his voice is barely audible. You don't. You'll never know for sure, because even I'm not sure where the protection ends and the love begins anymore. He looks at her, and she's shocked to see tears in his eyes. All I know is that if something happens to you, if Richard gets his hands on you, I won't survive it. Not because of what you represent or what you can access, but because you're the only person who's ever made me feel like I might be worth saving. Sarah stares at him, her own eyes filling with tears. Marcus. But before she can say anything else, headlights flood the car. 3 black SUVs surround them, and men in dark suits pour out with weapons drawn. Get down, Marcus shouts, pushing Sarah below the dashboard as the first gunshot shatters their rear window. Marcus throws the car into drive and floors the accelerator, tires screaming against asphalt as they speed away from the ambush. More gunshots echo behind them, and Sarah can hear the sound of breaking glass. Are you hurt? Marcus asks, his voice tight with concentration as he navigates through traffic at dangerous speeds. No, Sarah gasps, but Marcus, they found us. How did they find us? Marcus's face is grim. Someone told them where we'd be. The implication hits Sarah like a punch to the gut. Someone close to them, someone who knew their plans, had betrayed them. Vivian, she whispers. Maybe. Or, Marcus's jaw clenches, or someone else entirely. They drive in tense silence for several minutes, taking a winding route through the city to make sure they're not being followed. Finally, Marcus pulls into the garage of his building. As they ride the elevator up to his penthouse, Sarah can't stop thinking about everything that's happened. The public engagement announcement, the power outage, the ambush, it all feels too coordinated, too planned. Marcus, she says as they step into his apartment, what if this isn't about the box at all? What if this is about something else entirely? Marcus turns to look at her. What do you mean? What if your uncle doesn't just want what my father took? What if he wants me dead for some other reason? Before Marcus can respond, a slow clap echoes through the penthouse. They both turn to see Vivian Cross sitting in Marcus's living room. Her red dress, a splash of blood against the white furniture. Very good, Sarah, Vivian says with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Marcus immediately moves to put himself between Sarah and Vivian. How did you get in here? Oh, Marcus, I have keys, remember? You never did change the locks after I died. Vivian stands gracefully, and Sarah notices she's holding something small and metallic in her hand. What do you want, Vivian? What I've always wanted. What your family owes me. Vivian's voice is cold now, all pretense of friendliness gone. But first, I think Sarah deserves to know the truth about why she's really here. Sarah's stomach clenches. I already know why I'm here. Do you? Because I don't think Marcus has told you the most important part. Vivian's ice blue eyes glitter dangerously. Tell her, Marcus. Tell her about the prophecy. Marcus goes very still. Vivian, don't. Tell her about the bloodline curse that can only be broken by someone with Bennett DNA. Tell her about the ritual that requires a willing sacrifice.
Vivian takes a step closer, and Sarah can see that what she's holding is a small silver knife. Tell her that the only way to open the box is for Sarah Bennett to die. The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. She turns to stare at Marcus, waiting for him to deny it, to tell Vivian she's lying. But when Sarah pulls away, she sees something in his eyes that terrifies her. The look of a man who's already lost everything that matters. The look of a man who knows Vivian is telling the truth.
The truth unveiled. Sarah feels like the world has tilted off its axis. She stares at Marcus, waiting for him to deny what Vivian just said, waiting for him to tell her it's all lies. But Marcus just stands there, his face pale and stricken, his silence confirming her worst fears. "It's true, isn't it?" Sarah's voice comes out as barely a whisper. "Sarah, let me explain." "Is it true?" she demands, her voice stronger now. Marcus closes his eyes. Yes. The single word hits her like a bullet to the chest. Sarah staggers backward until her back hits the wall. "You knew," she breathes. "This whole time, you knew that opening the box would kill me, and you still—" "No," Marcus says desperately, moving toward her. "That's not how it is. Sarah, I swear to you, that's not how it is." "Then explain it to me." Sarah's voice cracks with pain and betrayal. "Explain to me how you can claim to love me while planning my death." Vivian watches their confrontation with obvious satisfaction. "Oh, this is even better than I hoped." "Shut up, Vivian," Marcus snarls without taking his eyes off Sarah. "But Marcus, I thought you wanted her to know the truth. Isn't that what you're always preaching about? Honesty? Trust?" Vivian's voice drips with mock concern. Sarah ignores Vivian, her attention focused solely on Marcus. "Start talking, now." Marcus runs his hands through his hair, his composure finally cracking. "The box. According to the research my father did before he died, it contains something called the Heart of Kronos. It's supposed to be some kind of ancient artifact with incredible power." "What kind of power?" "The ability to manipulate time itself, to change the past, alter the future." Marcus's voice is barely audible. "But the legends say it can only be accessed by someone with specific genetic markers, someone from the bloodline of its original guardian." "My bloodline." "Yes, and the ritual to open it," Marcus's voice breaks. "The ritual requires the guardian's descendant to give their life willingly." Sarah slides down the wall until she's sitting on the floor, her legs unable to support her anymore. "So you knew from the beginning that I would have to die?" "No." Marcus drops to his knees in front of her. "Sarah, I swear to you, when I first approached you, I thought there had to be another way. I thought if we could find the box, if we could study it properly, we could figure out how to open it without killing me." "Yes." Sarah looks up at him, her heart breaking. "But you weren't sure." Marcus's silence is answer enough. "Ah, this is rich," Vivian says from across the room. "Tell her the rest, Marcus. Tell her about your family's little insurance policy." "What is she talking about?" Sarah asks. Marcus won't meet her eyes. "My father. Before he died, he made arrangements. Legal documents, financial incentives. If something happened to you while you were helping us, your family would be taken care of." The words hit Sarah like ice water. "You mean paid off, compensated for my death?" "It wasn't supposed to happen," Marcus says desperately, moving toward her. "I was going to find another way. I was going to—" "You were going to what? Fall in love with me and change your mind?" Sarah's laugh is bitter. How convenient, how very romantic. She struggles to her feet, needing distance from him. As she moves away, she notices something on Marcus's desk that makes her blood run cold. Files, dozens of them, all with her name on them. Sarah walks over and starts opening them, her hands shaking. Inside are photographs of her going about her daily life, eating lunch on the bench, volunteering at the animal shelter, grocery shopping. And at the bottom of the pile, a thick folder labeled Genetic Analysis, S. Bennett. "You've been studying me," she says numbly, "like a lab rat. Sarah, please." "How long?" She turns to face him, the files scattered around her feet. "How long have you been planning this?" Marcus looks like he's aging years with every second that passes. 3 years. 3 years, Sarah nods slowly. 3 years of watching me, learning about me, making me fall in love with you, all so you could eventually convince me to kill myself for your family's benefit. That's not. Then what is it? Sarah's voice rises to a scream. "Tell me what it is, Marcus, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've spent 3 years grooming your own personal sacrifice." Marcus flinches like she's hit him. "I fell in love with you." "When?" Sarah demands. "When exactly did you fall in love with me? Before or after you knew I'd have to die?" Marcus opens his mouth, then closes it again. His silence is damning. "You can't even answer that, can you?" Sarah's voice breaks. "Because you don't know yourself where the manipulation ends and the real feelings begin." Tears are streaming down her face now, but she doesn't care. Everything she thought she knew, everything she thought she felt, has been built on lies. "I trusted you," she whispers. "I signed that contract. I let you into my life. I let myself fall in love with you. And all this time, you were just, what, fattening me up for slaughter?" "Sarah, that's not fair." "Fair?" Sarah's voice is deadly quiet now. "You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that you never told me the truth about what you needed from me? Is it fair that you let me think this was about protecting me when it was really about using me?" Marcus looks stricken. "I was protecting you. From my uncle, from the people who would torture you for information." "You were protecting your investment," Marcus cuts him off, "making sure I stayed alive long enough to serve your purpose." Sarah breaks into Marcus's private study and finds files that reveal the real reason she was chosen. She's the heir to a fortune that could destroy the Blackstone empire. But more than that, she's the key to unleashing something that could change the world. The artifacts her father died protecting aren't just valuable. They're evidence of crimes that could send Marcus's family to prison forever. But they're also the prison keeping something terrible locked away. "The heart of Kronos isn't just powerful," she says, reading from one of the files. "According to your father's research, it's dangerous, catastrophically dangerous. Opening it could tear holes in time itself." Marcus finds her surrounded by the scattered papers, and for the first time, she sees him completely vulnerable and afraid. "You're right," he says quietly, "about all of it. The box isn't just valuable, it's potentially world-ending. And yes, I've known from the beginning that opening it would require your death. But Sarah, I swear to you, I never planned to go through with it." "Then why didn't you just tell me the truth?" "Because I knew you'd run. And if you ran, my uncle would find you and torture the information out of you before killing you anyway. At least this way, you had protection. At least this way, I could keep you safe while we looked for alternatives." Sarah looks at him. This man who claims to love her, who has been lying to her since the moment they met. "I fell in love with you," he confesses, his voice breaking as he admits that what started as a business arrangement became his salvation. Somewhere in the last blood and diamonds. The study door splinters off its hinges as armed men flood into the room. But the man leading them isn't a stranger. It's Richard Blackstone, Marcus's uncle, his silver hair perfectly styled and his cold eyes blazing with fury. "Hello, nephew," Richard says pleasantly, as if he's not holding a gun pointed directly at Marcus's chest.
I think we need to have a family chat. Marcus keeps his own weapon trained on his uncle, his body positioned protectively in front of Sarah. Let her go, Richard. This is between you and me. Oh, but that's where you're wrong. Richard's smile is sharp as a blade. Sarah is the most important person in this room, aren't you, darling? Sarah's heart pounds as she crouches behind Marcus's desk, but she forces her voice to stay steady. I don't know what you want from me. Don't you? I think you do. Richard signals to his men, who spread out around the room with military precision. You see, I've been listening to your conversation with my dear nephew. Very illuminating, very disappointing. Marcus's jaw clenches. I won't let you hurt her. Hurt her? Marcus, I'm deeply offended. I don't want to hurt Sarah at all. I want her cooperation. Richard's eyes glitter dangerously. Tell me, Sarah, did Marcus explain to you what the heart of Kronos really is? Ancient artifact, dangerous, could destroy the world, Sarah says through gritted teeth. I got the highlights. Richard laughs, a sound like breaking crystal. Ancient artifact, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. But destroy the world? He shakes his head. My dear, it could remake the world. Do you have any idea what someone could do with the power to change the past? To fix every mistake, prevent every tragedy, eliminate every enemy before they become a threat? You're talking about playing God, Sarah says. I'm talking about becoming God. Richard's voice drops to barely a whisper. And you, Sarah Bennett, are the key to unlimited power. Marcus takes a step forward. The ritual requires a willing sacrifice, Richard. She'll never agree to it. Won't she? Richard's attention shifts to Sarah. What if I told you that the power could be used to save lives? What if I told you that with the heart of Kronos, I could go back and prevent your father's death? Sarah's breath catches. The temptation in Richard's words is like poison in her veins. He's lying, Marcus says urgently. Sarah, he's lying to you. Am I? Richard pulls out a tablet and shows Sarah a video file. This is security footage from the night your father died. Would you like to see what really happened to him? Against her better judgment, Sarah looks at the screen. The video shows her father in what appears to be a warehouse, running from men in dark suits. He's carrying the ornate box, clutching it to his chest like his life depends on it. Your father didn't die in a construction accident, Richard says softly. He was murdered. By my men. On my orders. Sarah's world tilts sideways. No, I'm afraid so. He refused to tell us where he'd hidden the real box. This one was just a decoy. So we convinced him to cooperate. Unfortunately, he died before he could give us the location. Rage floods through Sarah like fire. You bastard. Language, darling, but I understand your anger. Richard's voice is sickeningly sympathetic. The good news is that with the heart of Kronos, we could undo all of that. Bring him back. Give you the father you deserved. In exchange for what? Sarah asks, though she already knows the answer. Your life, freely given. The ritual must be completed willingly, or it won't work. Sarah discovers that the key isn't physical. It's a genetic marker that only she possesses, passed down through her bloodline. The knowledge hits her like a physical blow. You need my DNA, she says slowly. More than that. We need your death. Richard's men move closer, their weapons still trained on Marcus. Marcus steps between Sarah and the guns, his love for her finally stronger than his fear of his family's wrath. You want her? You go through me. Yo, Marcus, always so dramatic. Richard sighs. I was hoping you'd see reason. After all, it's just one little cleaning lady. There are billions of people in the world.
Surely one insignificant life isn't worth more than unlimited power? She's worth more than anything, Marcus says fiercely. More than power, more than money, more than this entire family. Richard's face hardens. Then you've made your choice. He raises his gun, but before he can fire, the lights suddenly cut out, plunging the penthouse into darkness. In the chaos that follows, Sarah hears gunshots, shouting, and the sound of breaking glass. Strong hands grab her shoulders. "Sarah, it's me," Marcus's voice whispers in her ear. "We need to move, now." A shootout erupts in the mansion as Marcus's loyal security team fight against Richard's hired killers in a battle for Sarah's life. "How did your security team get here so fast?" Sarah asks as Marcus guides her through the darkness. "I triggered a silent alarm when we first came in," Marcus explains, his hand steady on her back. "I had a feeling Richard would make his move tonight." They make it to Marcus's bedroom, where he quickly opens a hidden panel in the wall. "Secret passage?" Sarah asks. "Every paranoid billionaire has them," Marcus says with a grim smile. "My father had these built when I was a kid." In the chaos, Sarah and Marcus escape through hidden passages that run beneath the estate. Their hands clasp together as bullets fly overhead. The tunnels are narrow and dark, lit only by emergency lighting that casts eerie shadows on the concrete walls. "Where do these lead?" Sarah asks as they run. "To the parking garage. I have a car waiting." But as they near the exit, they hear voices echoing down the tunnel behind them. "They're following us," Sarah breathes. "I know." Marcus stops at a junction in the tunnels and turns to face her. "Sarah, listen to me. There's something I need to tell you." "Now? It might be the only chance I get." Marcus cups her face in his hands. "The box, the ritual, all of it. There might be another way." Sarah's heart pounds. "What do you mean?" "My father's research mentioned something called the Blood Covenant. If someone with Blackstone DNA willingly take the place of the Bennett sacrifice, it might work just as well." The implication hits her like a truck. "You're talking about killing yourself instead of me?" "If it comes to that, yes." "No." Sarah grabs his hands. "Marcus, no! I won't let you die for me." "And I won't let you die for my family's obsession." Marcus kisses her forehead. "Sarah, I love you. More than I've ever thought it was possible to love someone. If my death means you get to live, then it's not even a choice." Tears stream down Sarah's face. "There has to be another way." "Maybe. But if there isn't?" As they run through the darkness, Marcus whispers promises of a future together, if they can survive the next hour. "When this is over," he says between breaths, "when Richard is dead and the box is destroyed, I want to take you somewhere. Somewhere far from here, where no one knows our names." Love's last stand. The abandoned warehouse sits on the edge of the city like a forgotten secret. Marcus's shoulder is roughly bandaged, his face pale from blood loss, but his eyes are determined as he leads Sarah through the shadows. "This is where your father worked after he left the company," Marcus explains, his voice tight with pain. "He set up a legitimate construction business as a front, but really he was hiding here, researching the box, trying to understand what he'd gotten himself into." The warehouse doors creak as they swing open. Inside, the space is divided into two areas, one that looks like a normal construction office, complete with blueprints and hard hats, and another that looks like something out of an archaeological expedition. Tables covered with ancient texts, photographs of symbols and artifacts, and detailed charts mapping bloodlines and genetic markers fill the hidden section. And there, in the center of it all, sits a glass case containing an ornate box that seems to pulse with its own inner light. "That's it?" Sarah asks, her voice barely a whisper. "That's it. The heart of Kronos." Sarah approaches the case slowly, as if the box might explode at any moment. Up close, she can see the intricate symbols carved into its surface, can feel an odd vibration in the air around it. "It's beautiful," she breathes. "Beautiful and deadly." Marcus comes to stand beside her. Your father spent years trying to find a way to destroy it safely. Every method he tried either failed completely or threatened to release its power accidentally. Sarah touches the glass case, and for a moment she swears she can hear something. A whisper, a call, something that speaks directly to her blood. "I can feel it," she says in wonder. "It's like it's singing to me." Marcus's face goes white. Sarah steps back from the case. But Sarah is transfixed. The symbols on the box begin to glow, responding to her proximity. Using her father's instructions, Sarah accesses a hidden vault that contains documents proving decades of murder, theft, and corruption, but also the truth about what the heart of Kronos really is. "It's not just a power source," she says, reading from her father's notes. "It's a prison. Something is trapped inside, and opening it would set it free." Marcus reads over her shoulder, his face grim. What kind of something? Sarah continues reading, her voice getting shakier with each word. According to the research, it's not an artifact at all. It's a containment unit for something that was banished from this reality centuries ago. Something that exists outside of time and space. Something that would remake the world in its own image if it were ever freed. "Jesus," Marcus breathes. "My father figured it out near the end. That's why he couldn't bring himself to destroy it. Destroying the box might set the entity free just as surely as opening it would." Sarah finds another document, this one in her father's handwriting. Listen to this. "The bloodline connection isn't about powering the box, it's about keeping it locked. Each generation, someone from the Bennett line must die to reinforce the prison. If the bloodline is broken, if no one dies to renew the binding, the entity will eventually break free on its own." The horrible truth settles over them both. The ritual isn't about opening the box, it's about keeping it closed. "That's why Richard wants me dead," Sarah realizes, "not to release whatever's inside, but to lock it away for another generation." "But he said he wanted the power." He lied. Or maybe he doesn't understand what he's really dealing with. Sarah looks at Marcus with tears in her eyes. "Either way, I'm supposed to die. Whether to open the prison or to reinforce it, the result is the same." Marcus holds her close as she cries over learning the truth about her father's heroic sacrifice to protect innocent people. David Bennett hadn't stolen the box for profit or power. He'd taken it to prevent his own daughter from being sacrificed to maintain a prison that should never have been created. "He was trying to break the cycle," Sarah sobs. "He was trying to find another way so I wouldn't have to die." "And maybe he found one," Marcus says softly. "Look." He points to another document, this one written in code. Sarah studies the symbols, and slowly they begin to make sense. "It's a ritual of transference," she says. "If someone willingly takes on the bloodline curse, they become the new anchor for the prison. The original bloodline is freed, but the entity remains contained." "But who would?" Sarah reads. "Someone who loves the bloodline carrier more than their own life. Someone who chooses to sacrifice themselves not for power or duty, but for love." They stare at each other, the implications clear. "The blood covenant you mentioned," Sarah says. "It's real. But Sarah, it means I would have to die in my place, I know, and I won't let you do it. And I won't let you sacrifice yourself for my family's mistakes." They're so focused on each other that they don't hear the footsteps until it's too late. "How touching," Richard's voice echoes through the warehouse. "Young love conquering all. It's enough to make a man sick." They turn to find Richard and his men surrounding the warehouse, cutting off every exit. But he's not alone. Vivian stands beside him, no longer bothering to hide her allegiance. "You," Sarah breathes, staring at Vivian. "Me?" Vivian confirms with a cold smile. "Did you really think I was dead? Please, I've been working with Richard for years, helping him track down the box."
But you warned me about Marcus. I was trying to turn you against him so you'd be easier to manipulate, Vivian shrugs. Clearly, I underestimated the power of young love. Richard and his men find their location, surrounding the warehouse, as police sirens wail in the distance. Someone has called for help. Who called the police? Richard demands. Marcus smiles grimly. I did, before we came in. I figured if we were going to have our final confrontation, we might as well have witnesses. Clever boy, but not clever enough. Richard signals to his men, kill Marcus, take Sarah alive. In a final confrontation, Marcus stands with Sarah against his own family, choosing love over blood as the authorities close in. I won't let you hurt her, Marcus says, stepping protectively in front of Sarah. You won't have a choice, Richard replies. You see, Marcus, you were never supposed to survive this. The blood covenant requires the death of a Blackstone, yes, but not just any Blackstone. It requires the death of the heir, the one who would inherit the family's sins. What are you talking about? Did you really think your father's death was an accident? I've been planning this for decades, Marcus. Everything that's happened, your father's partnership with David Bennett, the discovery of the box, even your pathetic infatuation with the cleaning lady, all of it was orchestrated to bring us to this moment. Sarah feels sick. You've been manipulating all of us. For 30 years, Richard confirms. And now it's time to finish.
Forever begins now. 6 months later, Sarah stands on a beach in Santorini, watching the sun set over the Aegean Sea. The white sand is warm beneath her bare feet, and the gentle sound of waves provides a peaceful soundtrack to her thoughts. So much has changed since that night in the warehouse. The evidence Sarah inherited brings down the corrupt side of the Blackstone family, with Richard and his associates arrested for multiple murders. The investigation revealed decades of criminal activity, murder, theft, extortion, and worse. Richard died that night in the warehouse, but his co-conspirators faced justice. The media had a field day with the story. Billionaire families' dark secrets exposed. The Blackstone curse finally broken. Love conquers ancient evil. Sarah smiles at that last headline. If only they knew how much truth was buried in their sensationalized stories. Marcus testifies against his own blood to protect Sarah, choosing justice over family loyalty in a courtroom packed with reporters. He stood at that witness stand for 3 days, calmly detailing every crime he knew about, every cover-up, every victim his family had silenced. It cost him everything, his company, most of his fortune, his standing in society. But when Sarah asked him if he regretted it, he just smiled and said the only thing that mattered was that she was safe. "Penny for your thoughts," Marcus says, appearing beside her with 2 glasses of wine. Sarah accepts the glass and leans into his warmth. He's changed too in these past months. The constant tension is gone from his shoulders, the wariness from his eyes. He looks younger, happier, free. "Just thinking about how different everything is now," Sarah says. Good different or bad different? Sarah considers the question. They're living in a small villa on this Greek island, far from the chaos of their old lives. Marcus does consulting work for legitimate businesses, helping them identify corruption and fraud. Sarah has started teaching English to local children, finding joy in their laughter and curiosity. It's simple, quiet, nothing like the life of luxury Marcus offered her in that first contract. Good different, Sarah decides. Definitely good different. Marcus sets down his wine glass and reaches into his pocket. Sarah's breath catches as he pulls out a small velvet box. "Speaking of different," he says, dropping to one knee in the sand. Sarah's heart stops. "Marcus?" "Sarah Bennett, will you marry me?" He opens the box to reveal a simple, elegant ring with a single diamond that catches the last rays of sunlight. Not because of contracts or protection or family obligations, not because we need to convince anyone of anything, just because I love you more than I ever thought it was possible to love someone.
Sarah stares down at him, this man who gave up everything for her, who chose her over power and money and family legacy. Marcus gets down on one knee with a ring that belonged to her mother, a detail he discovered while helping her piece together her family's true story. "How did you get my mother's ring?" she asks, tears blurring her vision. "Your father left it with the box," Marcus explains, "along with a letter, for you, if anything ever happened to him." With trembling hands, Sarah takes the letter Marcus offers. Her father's familiar handwriting covers the page. "My dearest Sarah," she reads aloud, "if you're reading this, then the worst has happened, and I'm gone. But know that everything I did, every choice I made, was to protect you. The ring belonged to your mother, and she would have wanted you to wear it on your wedding day. Choose someone who loves you for who you are, not what you represent. Choose someone who would give up everything for your happiness. Choose love, my darling girl. Always choose love." Sarah is crying now, but they're happy tears. She looks down at Marcus, still kneeling in the sand, still waiting for her answer. "Will you marry me for real this time?" he asks, his eyes holding all the love and vulnerability that money could never buy. "Yes," Sarah says, her voice strong and certain. "Yes, Marcus Blackstone, I will marry you." Marcus slips the ring onto her finger, and it fits perfectly. As he stands and pulls her into his arms, Sarah realizes that sometimes the most precious treasures aren't hidden in vaults. They're found in the courage to trust your heart. They kiss as the sun disappears into the sea, painting the sky in shades of gold and promise. "I love you," Marcus whispers against her lips. "I love you too," Sarah whispers back. Later that evening, as they walk hand in hand through the village, Sarah asks the question that's been nagging at her for months. What happened to the box? Marcus's steps slow. The authorities took it into custody. It's locked away in a government facility somewhere, being studied by people with security clearances higher than mine. And the entity inside? According to the experts, the prison is holding. Whatever your father and mine accidentally unleashed all those years ago is still contained. Marcus stops walking and turns to face her. "But Sarah, there's something I need to tell you." Sarah's stomach clenches. "What?" "The night of the warehouse, when the box fell and all that light exploded outward, I felt something, like a presence, trying to speak to me." Sarah goes cold. "What kind of presence?" "I don't know, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear whispers, promises of power, offers of unlimited control over time and reality." Marcus takes her hands in his. "I think touching the box changed me somehow, connected me to whatever's inside." "Marcus, why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because I was afraid you'd think I was going crazy, or worse, that you'd be afraid of me." Sarah studies his face in the lamplight. He looks the same as always, kind, worried about her, desperately in love. But now that she's looking for it, she can see something else in his green eyes, a flicker of something that wasn't there before. "Are you afraid of what you might become?" she asks softly. "Every day," Marcus admits. "But then I look at you, and I remember what really matters. Love is stronger than power, Sarah. What we have is stronger than whatever that thing is trying to offer me." Sarah kisses him then, pouring all her love and faith and trust into the contact. When they break apart, she smiles. "Then we'll face it together," she says simply. "Whatever comes next, we'll handle it together." As they walk back to their villa, Sarah can't help but glance up at the stars. Somewhere out there, in a government facility, an ancient evil waits in its prison. And somewhere in her new husband's mind, that same evil whispers promises and threats. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight, she's just a woman in love, wearing her mother's ring, planning a future with the man who chose her over everything else in the world. As Sarah says yes, she realizes that sometimes the most precious treasures aren't hidden in vaults. They're found in the courage to trust your heart. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, its own fears, its own choices between love and power. But tonight, love has won. And that's enough. Don't forget to rate this story and subscribe if you want more love stories like this one.